Okay, so the question is, well, after we've seen some more things happen during the Donald Trump presidency, do you feel differently than I did, last summer or a year ago? The answer is, I don't know Donald Trump personally. I have not been in the same room as Donald Trump. I have not given him a hug. Why? Well, do you want me to go and sit next to him to feel his aura? Because I'm very good at feeling auras. Very, very good. I can tell what people are all about by their aura. When they are quite a long distance away from me, I can tell. It is... So I'm not going to feel Donald Trump's aura because I'm not going to be invited to the White House. So what I'm going to use instead to judge Donald Trump's manners are how he presents himself. And I'm sorry to tell you, I don't watch mainstream TV. So what little I get out of Donald Trump is when other people are watching it. And I simply want to get away from repeating myself in my last talk about Donald Trump, about packing his cabinet with losers. Donald, why are you putting losers on your cabinet so that you can say you're fired? Why didn't you hire top-notch people at the beginning? Why didn't you vet all the available candidates and pick the best one instead of, trial and error? This is a fault. This is a management style that Trump exhibits called, I'll take anybody, I'll try anybody out, and if you screw up, you're fired. That is no way to run anything. Donald Trump makes bad hiring decisions. He's the one that hires the people that he tells you're fired to. And this is his pattern for decades. I mean, the Trump Organization started when he was about 25 years old. So it's been around a long time. But, when you're president of the United States, you can't afford to do it the Trump Organization way. Trial and error, and after 50 years, I'm going to have the right people because I've tried enough people. You can't do that with the presidency. You're in there for 4 years. You got to have the right people in there from the get-go, and he screwed it up. And what has he accomplished? I don't know. I don't know. When I watch anything to do with the White House, and I really don't spend much time at all, other than hearing other people's news, overhearing the television going, and that's what I get off this man. He's totally incompetent. He doesn't have a vision. Oh, I'm going to take on China. No, he has no vision. This has got nowhere. Nowhere. He's nowhere man. That's what I'm going to call Donald Trump. Nowhere man. Now, just in case you think I'm a Democrat, fair warning, I'm not even an American. I'm your next door neighbor over the fence in Canada. That's where I'm watching this crap going on. So if you're wondering, well, am I supporting your other candidate? God, no. That man belongs in a senior citizen's home with Homer Simpson's father. If I was an American, I wouldn't vote in this presidential election because it's called giving your power away. It's giving your consent to be governed by two men, either one, pick either man, two geriatric, dirty old men. That's what they are. They're dirty old men. It's on record. They have a lifetime of groping people who didn't want to be groped. Is it true that the whole generation they belong to groped? Probably. So it's time for you to jump a generation. They used to talk about this. They used to say when Queen Elizabeth kicks the bucket that it should skip Prince Charles and go to William. Because, Charles is too old and it's contaminated by a lifetime of living with aristocrats who like to go to Epstein's Island. I don't know. Maybe William is too old. Maybe he's still too old. Now, the news today is that Barbados, the little Caribbean island, is seriously considering removing Queen Elizabeth as their head of state. Good on you, Barbados, leading the world. Leading the world. Barbados should be like headlines everywhere. Good on you. Get rid of that dumpy old queen and all of the accessories that come. You don't need that. And here in Canada, we don't need her either. And we don't need her form of parliamentary democracy, which doesn't work. So we don't want nothing. Well, me. I'm not going to say we because I can't speak for Canadians. There's a lot of Canadians, and they're just like Americans. They have all kinds of different opinions on everything. But there is. If you ask Canadians whether they should keep the Queen or not, it depends on, I guess, what's going on. You know, if it's July the 1st and Canadians are feeling very patriotic, they might, I don't know, I don't know, I would say quite a number of Canadians would say get rid of the whole monarchy, and then they wouldn't know what to replace it with. That's always the problem, you know, to become presidential. And we look at you in the United States and say, you're totally dysfunctional. You know, this separation of powers, a check and balance that the founding fathers... Screw your founding fathers. Your founding fathers were a bunch of aristocrats. All your presidents in their bloodline have been related to Queen Elizabeth's family. So we don't want government by the aristocrats. Now, strangely, Dr. David R. Hawkins of Consciousness Research found by muscle testing that government by an oligarchy actually has a high level of consciousness, probably higher than a democracy. So how are you going to... well, let's explain what it means. It means government by oligarchy... it means oligarchs, generally speaking, are better than the average Joe on the street. Why? We know they're well educated. We know they have lots of money so they can hire the best people to help them. We know that if there's been generation after generation of rich people, they're really good at managing other people because they own lots of companies. And say what you want about capitalism. Anybody that's on this channel very long knows that it's not my favorite thing. But you got to hand it to capitalism because it got us this far. We can do better. There are better systems out there. But capitalism got us this far. And who was running capitalism? It was the 1%ers. And I have huge issues with it, but it got us this far. There's better things we can do, but congratulations, oligarchs, you got us this far, and we've all got... You don't really realize what they've done for you. They brought you this society, and it ain't perfect, but, you know, the alternative to what they've given us is Zimbabwe. Africa. Government by mob. Mob rule. Zimbabwe is the most backwards place on the planet. So all of you out there that are considering, oh, what do we have to do to get a more evolved version of society on planet Earth? You don't want mob rule, which means, the people that Robert Mugabe had working for him were, basically, here, we're going to teach you how to operate a Kalashnikov machine gun. And we're going to just terrorize the countryside until we get what we want, which is us ruling. And then there's no intelligence. They're not educated people. It's not about skin color. It's about the fact that in Zimbabwe, the white 1% were well educated. And the man on the street, in those days, they weren't educated. So, yes, there is a dichotomy, but that's the way it is there. So we want to tell you that education is going to correlate with higher levels of consciousness, to a point. Anyways, back to Donald Trump. I don't want to repeat time and time again that you are in control of yourself. And while you're in control of yourself, it would behoove you to become less and less dependent upon Donald Trump to change the world. Because he's had 4 years and he did shit. My guess is that the people behind the scenes, the 1%ers, decide. Why? Well, it's just that they do. All of these stupid things that they've told you, oh, isn't this amazing? Hanging chads in Florida are going to decide the whole national presidential election. That is a fabrication. There's no way that a country that big is going to be cut right down the middle to such a few votes. So that's a bullshit story, a huge lie propagated by mainstream media, which is controlled by the corporate oligarchy. And they're going to decide whether you get Biden or Trump, regardless of how you vote. Donald Trump told you this in the last election. It's rigged, folks, is his exact quote. On this, I believe him. You are governed by the oligarchs. The oligarchs set up. They were your founding fathers, and they set up your Constitution. The shit show that it is designed to be a shit show. Intelligent design. The oligarchs knew that this was going to be the best way that they could control government and not give democracy to the people. And yes, it makes them rich. It keeps them rich. But if you really had, in 1776, if you had mob rule, what that is, give everybody a vote, and that's what we're going to go with, without control by the oligarchs, you would have had Zimbabwe. The most backwards place. People would have starved. You never would have evolved America to where you are. The shit show that you have is way better than the Zimbabwe shit show. But it's still a shit show. So you can do better. And I don't think you're going to be able to do better because how on earth are you going to jettison this 1% cabal? So the best you can do in the meantime is get yourself involved with reducing your dependence upon others and become self-reliant.